Phil, Concorde must have generated more miles of statistics than it's actually flown. Of course, a lot of the information revolves around the performance of the aircraft, and presumably much of that is your responsibility.
Well, it is. The role really of the flight engineer is twofold. Operating the aircraft systems, as shown here on the systems panel, and monitoring the pilots up at the front there. We both undergo the same conversion course, so we're basically watching each other during the flight.
Can you tell me a little bit about this array of switches and dials that you're scanning all the time?
But the whole panel here, the flight engineer's panel, is broken down into subsections. Up on the top right, there are 3 hydraulic systems. Below that, 4 electrical generation systems. Back up into the centre, there are 4 air conditioning systems. Then all of this panel here is the fuel system. There are 13 fuel tanks, and the fuel is not only used to feed the engines, it's also used to trim the aircraft. We pump it from the front to the back of the aircraft, and then from side to side. It's also used to cool the hydraulics, the engine oil, and the air conditioning air. Back up to the top here, we have 2 pressurization systems. Down below there are the secondary engine instruments. The primary engine instruments are at the front of the flight deck, and then the engine intake control down here.
Yeah.
The next generation of long-haul aircraft, the 747-400, very sadly has no flight engineer, just 2 pilots. I have a personal theory that the aircraft that will supersede the Dash 400 will be the Dash 500, which will have 2 flight engineers and no pilot.
And if all went to worms, could you actually fly this thing and land it?
Yeah, on our 6-monthly simulator checks, we practice crew incapacitation, where we all change seats. I get to fly the aeroplane and the pilots get to work the panel.
Is it true that there are, in fact, only 2 military aircraft in the world that will fly faster than Concorde, and they can only sustain Mach 2 for about 15 minutes?
This is certainly true, and I also understand there's only 4 in the world that could scramble and catch us up. But they need reheat all the time. They're flying supersonically, whereas we switched ours off at 1.7 and flying now without the use of reheat.
And obviously they require in-flight refuelling.
Absolutely.